Yes, we are here today with Coop and Dave, as always. Today's show, just like last week, is sponsored by the Creekwater Hat Company. Created by yours truly. It's a company made for simple people with simple lives down home. If you're from where we're from, everybody lives on a creek, right? So that's kind of how I came up with the name Creekwater. But go to creekwaterhatcompany.com, pick yourself up a hat. We are growing rapidly, surprisingly. Had a good time. It's been fun. It's been real fun. But enough of the shameless plugs out there. We do have, as the Trifecta team, we have a Etsy store with merch on it. Haven't talked about this in a while, but this hat right here is awesome. Got some t-shirt options, some mug options, some logos. I do have this quarter zip as well. So hop on our Etsy store. It's in the description. Pick yourself up a hoodie, t-shirt, some stickers. If you won your fantasy leagues, we got some fantasy football champion t-shirts, mugs. If you suck at fantasy football, Dave, I got this blue shirt that says I suck at fantasy football. You can pick that up if you want it. But other than that, fellas, we're going to get the show started with the drop. Huge week in football this week. Yesterday, my precious Bengals fell to the Kansas City Chiefs by 3 points. There's a lot to talk about during that game. A lot to talk about. As you can tell in the title, the NFL does have some explaining to do. I just feel like it never felt good to me. It's like everything that we had going for us, every ounce of momentum was always cut short. Anything that we did, something happened to ruin it. Now, were some of them logistically and realistically penalties? Yeah, they were. But some of them late in the game were not. Was the play at the end a penalty? Hell yeah, it was. Was it dumb? Absolutely. But they did miss 2 holding penalties on 2 separate players on the same play.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant.
Watch the tape.
It's irrelevant, though.
But they offset.
Cincinnati. Coop, you go ahead. I'm gonna go on a tangent. You go ahead.
First off, I don't think those were holding penalties.
Can you wrap a guy up by the neck while you're blocking him?
On a rip move, yes. It is in the rule book. I actually saw screenshots today of the NFL rule book stating
that makes it even worse.
Performs that move.
That makes it even worse. Because we were called for holding penalties on the same move. Same game.
That's high school. Oh, you're talking.
If you can't.
No, same game.
If you can't maintain your block through those moves, defensive linemen are unblockable. That's all they have to do is make a move. And it's a offensive holding every play. And we've said this. You played offensive line. You can call holding every play if you want.
You can.
They call the blatantly obvious, most of the time outside the pocket, holds. I don't think either one of those were. The one on Hubbard was away from the ball. The other one was a guard when he was still in the pocket. They weren't bad. I really don't think they were bad. This game was not an officiating issue. You look at team stats, first downs, it's Chiefs, 23-18. Total yards, it's Chiefs. You look at defense, they had more sacks, they had more pressures, they forced more turnovers. Like, the officiating was not, I'm not even going to say it wasn't consistent. They made errors. The reason that they got to replay that third down was because the official said, start the play clock on my whistle and the game clock. He said both. He didn't say just play clock. They started it. Another ref tried to correct it. That was a huge mistake by the officials. But they still handled it the right way for it to be a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in the rule book, you replay that down. It was supposed to be stopped. There was a clock error. You're in the fourth quarter. You have to fix it. You have to make sure the time is right. But the difference in this game, I told you guys before it was played, it's Chris Jones.
Yep.
The Bills didn't have
Couldn't block him.
No.
Couldn't block him.
Which
I think 8 times this game he wasn't double teamed, and he had 8 quarterback pressures, 2 sacks, 5 hits. Like, that's what it was. They had better players at those key positions. And I don't remember, I'm sure it happened. I don't remember Cincinnati completing a pass in the middle of the field. Those linebackers took everything away. The big play to Chase, outer third.
Deep. Yeah.
Touchdown to Higgins, outer third. Boyd had a big catch on third down, outer third. Like, every big play they had was not in the middle of the field.
Yeah. So that's where I agree. The officials were bad. I mean, there's no way to go about it. How do you blow a whistle dead and then just because the place is rocking, you just stop blowing your whistle and you let the entire play? Like there was objectively bad plays by the refs. I don't think
because if you don't stop the play, blow the shit out of the whistle. Once one person hears it, the other people will hear it.
Right.
They have communication devices. And on the other hand, you let the play go, that risks injuries.
Right. I agree with that.
So if here's the thing.
That doesn't matter though. What matters is Joe Burrow was their leading rusher.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I told you all that. This is going to come down to who has the better rushing attack. And granted, both teams barely rushed at all. And that tells you where the issues was. Cincinnati had a banged up offensive line. They addressed all of the offensive line issues from last season, and they got hit by the injury bug. And it absolutely decimated them. Seemed like every time they had some sort of momentum, here comes Chris Jones with a sack to just completely take away any momentum they had. You know, the 2 interceptions, you know, it just felt like Cincinnati should have ran away with this game. You had a hurt Patrick Mahomes who was limping around everywhere, and he didn't get
still making stupid plays. Like the dude's the magician.
Questionable 2 hours before the game.
He was
Sneed's
healthy.
Out, Bolton's out. You lose Hardman. You lose Tony. You lose Juju. They had the injuries. They were way more banged up than Cincinnati.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy to me is the Kansas City defense won them the game. That might be the only game their defense has won them all year.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a Redskins fan, I don't feel sorry for you, Frank. You've had success. I don't care that you lost.
I appreciate the sympathy. Jacob has a good question. He says, IQ pretty low, so can you guys explain the grounding call when Piron was near the pass? What happens a lot of the times is if there's no clear effort to get the ball to the receiver while you're inside the pocket. That's the way I understand the rule. Piron was near the pass, but he didn't throw it towards him.
He was 8 yards.
He threw it straight to the he threw it straight into the heels of the offensive lineman. So that call was okay. There's nothing wrong with that one.
People were trying to compare that to the Mahomes one where he literally was throwing the ball and got hit and the ball landed like a yard in front of the yard line of scrimmage and then like 3 yards away from Kelsey. It's like Burrow wasn't getting hit in the throwing motion. I believe he had someone on his ankles and he just chucked it at the line.
He just threw it in the ground.
So the intent of it, I mean, Mahomes was trying to actually throw it to Kelsey on that play. Like you can see the intent.
Mm-hmm.
So
going into the game, I said this last week. I said if Burrow has time to throw the ball, it's game over. And he just didn't have time to throw the ball. When he did have time to throw the ball, you saw what he could do. You know, even though they took away the middle of the field. They took, Boyd got injured. We were looking at Hayden Hurst having a huge role in a passing game that that doesn't have, a massive role. He catches, 3-4 balls a game, but he had some huge third and long plays that he come up with that people just didn't cover him. Always, like you said, on the outer half. But 1777 memorabilia. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for the comment. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We talk football and all other sports all times of the day.
Penalty yard difference was only 26 yards. Like, yeah, I know there was more than just penalties that went into the calls that happened, but it's 26-yard difference.
Yeah, it's just the timing of the penalties that, it's always at the crappiest times.
But that's
we had a holding call that backed us up on first down that, you get behind the sticks against a defense like that, when they know you're passing it, there's no chance. You can't stop that.
And
A pass interference toward there that, even Gene's territory was like, that's probably not pass interference, but they called it anyway. First half, Zach Taylor-Burrow was going for long balls. That's kind of the offense that they use, especially with Mixon's running the ball hard, which he was not. P. Ryan was actually, I think, the better back, yesterday. They were going for it all when they should have been dinking and dunking the entire time. Yeah. Talk about the Saints-Rams game. That call was stupid.
Yeah,
the pass interference call back, and that was ridiculous. But
cost them a trip to the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
yeah, the Rams won it. We're going to switch gears. We can talk about the Bengals all day. I'm done talking about them. I just know that I can wear my jersey from now on. So,
did you wear it?
No, I didn't touch it. It's sitting right over here. I'm looking at it right now. It's in my floor, right beside my bed. They just let some shit slide. They humans with a purpose. I like that.
The other game was no better.
It was just an ugly game.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't have fun. I took a nap during that game.
I felt bad for San Francisco, man. It got hard to watch.
I'm on the couch, I guess, fellas.
I didn't think it mattered what quarterback Shanahan had, but I think he did need a quarterback, and that's where I was wrong.
See, that's where I am so upset. How did we not get a Deebo Samuel Wildcat package for at least one drive? You knew Purdy had a blown up UCL. That dude is having Tommy John today or tomorrow.
Yeah, that's terrible.
He came out today and said he could throw the ball 5 yards. How do you not give us Deebo? I
saw him talking to Shanahan, and I'm like, dude, this dude is he's being a wuss. It's a freaking playoff game. It's a championship. I don't care how hurt you are. You're playing. But no, he shouldn't play with a UCL tear like that.
He did play.
He came back in and played. But yeah, I mean, at that point, it can't hurt any worse. I might as well.
I'm just disappointed in Shanahan. I thought that, you start seeing that the Eagles just know he can't throw and that it is a run-only offense, and there's only so many different ways to run the ball. It's like, let's get Deebo and CMC just running some crazy shit. Just throw something together. You're supposed to be the best offensive mind.
They have that, they have that in the playbook. They do.
And outside of Derrick Henry, I can't think of two better skill players to run quarterback than those two guys. Like Derrick Henry is the only one I can think of that could be.
You can put Deebo back there, and you can hand it off to Christian McCaffrey. You can run zone read with Christian McCaffrey, and with that offensive line, you can do pretty much anything you want. But I don't know, man.
It may be a package they had in as a gimmick, but I don't think it's something they game planned. He wasn't ready to use it if they had it.
I know.
Yeah, but I wasn't a big believer in the 49ers anyway.
It's NFC Championship. You got to do something. You're getting your
last game of the season, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
The defense was there. Hurts didn't look good.
Yeah.
130 yards, and he was on the field the whole game.
But that running game for the Eagles was awesome. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell was the number one running back, and he didn't even score. I mean, Boston Scott and Miles Sanders each scored, but that was Kenneth Gainwell's backfield.
Twice.
Yeah, it's like that was Gainwell's backfield.
Another thing. Go ahead, Coop.
They had the same yards per carry as San Fran. They just ran it so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't – I'm telling you, this defense was good enough. It was 7-7 with 2 to go in the first half when they lost their second quarterback. And then Philly could just load up. There was no offense. They could just load the box. That defense got demoralized.
Good old Josh Johnson coming in.
You're telling me we can't get a George Kittle tight end pass? Like, give me a lateral for a pass.
Give me a tight end wraparound. Remember that play, Coop? Or Alabama. Yep. They run Alabama. Where tight end just run like 3 yards down the field, turn around, just boom, catch it, and then go.
Give me that Travis Kelce trying to do the old rugby play in the first quarter. Like,
hook and ladder.
Yeah, like, why didn't the 49ers just try something?
Yeah. And a lot of people in the chat are thinking, even Weaver, he's a Chiefs fan, I believe. Weaver says he don't think the Chiefs can beat the Eagles.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Well,
I think the Chiefs can beat the Eagles. Here's what's going to help both teams. If you want to watch a football being played in the trenches and being played well in the trenches, That's where this game is going to get won. You know, you got Patrick Mahomes on one side. You got, outstanding receivers and running backs on the other side. Pacheco looked ridiculously good yesterday. McKinnon is also could be a number one back on any other team. Wide receiver room, who knows what's going to happen, but Valdez-Scantling looked phenomenal. You got Travis Kelce as well. And on the Eagles side of the ball, you've got, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all three running backs, and Jalen Hurts with Dallas Goedert to throw the ball to. It's going to be a good game, I think. What's going to have to happen is it's going to be one in the trenches. I'm telling you. This is going to be big boy football coming up on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm pretty excited about it.
See, I'm nervous.
I wish the Bengals were playing in it, obviously. I'm kind of hurt about it. I'm going to shut up about it. I'm not going to say the word Bengals again to this show. I'm calling it.
I think this game is eerily similar to the Bucs-Chiefs Super Bowl a couple years ago. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had no line protection against the Bucs front four. He was hurt, hobbling around. This is a huge that the Chiefs have 2 weeks off, especially with everybody that went down yesterday. But I don't know. The Eagles defense is so damn good. And I just don't know if the Chiefs, they got 2 weeks to prepare. It's going to be a decent game, I would assume, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll still like Kansas City.
It depends who they have. Like, I don't think MVS is going to go for 111 and a score again against the Eagles.
Yeah, but Kelce might go for 250 and 3.
Yeah, the Eagles I don't think it matters. They can spread it out. I think Mahomes had 13 completions in the first half, and it was 8 different receivers. You don't have to have a big game from anybody except him. And he does it gimp and all, right? Visibly limping after probably a quarter of his plays. I just think it's been too easy for the Eagles. Their first 2 games, both these games were not close. The Giants probably benefited from a weaker strength of schedule, which has been talked about with the Eagles as well. I don't think they played the best teams. I know that division looked good on paper, but the Eagles are the only ones that have performed well, and nobody thought the Giants were a Super Bowl contender.
No, I would disagree with that. Dak looked like an MVP round 1.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Dak again today?
Well, I just brought him up.
He sucks. There, end of story.
They get a San Francisco team with no quarterbacks. They run 70 plays for 269 yards. That's not impressive, right? 269 total yards. Yeah, you hung 31 points, but you benefited from so many things in that game. You had 3 turnovers. I get it. Defense forced turnovers. Yes. But I don't think that those same turnovers happen with Mahomes in the pocket as they do with Josh Johnson and Brock Purdy. I think it's going to be a much different game.
Weaver says that Valdez-Scantling is going to be his 4th round pick next year.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this statement a little bit. I'm going to retract my statement about the 49ers. I don't believe in Trey Lance. So with that being said, Brock Purdy did what he needed to do. I don't know if he can be repeated. Could be. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, without the injured quarterback, that could be a different game. For sure.
7-7 ball game before their second quarterback goes down.
Yeah.
It was
they were the more I think they were the more complete all-around team.
100%.
They just didn't win.
But this final scoreboard is not indicative of how San Francisco looked with a usable quarterback. I'm not even saying a good one. I'm saying a guy that actually is paid as a quarterback. That's all they needed to be competitive.
They picked up game. Josh Johnson. He was bagging groceries at Costco, put them in boxes. He was at Kroger with the orange vest on, putting up buggies. But yeah.
Just a tough situation.
Yeah. Talking about injuring Mahomes, I don't know if that's something that they look to do. Which we had the bounty program. You remember that? You remember that back in the day, the bounty hunting situation where Sean Payton was a big part of it. Or they were paying players to take out guys.
Greg Williams.
I don't think that's going to be an issue. If it happens, it happens. Obviously, that would be bad for the Super Bowl, and people would be upset about it. I know I would be as a fan of the team that we're not going to say the word of the name anymore, or the name of the team anymore. But I'm a football fan, so I want to see the best players. You are correct, sir.
Dude, Sue's a madman.
You are correct. Sirianni is the biggest prick I've ever seen in my life. But I kind of like him.
But you think, like, in my head, I'm thinking here, if I'm Andy Reid and I'm Eric Bieniemy and I'm what's the old Chicago QB coach now there? Like, if I'm telling my linemen, if they get past you, freaking grab them by the horse collar. Do not let Patrick get touched. And I'm telling Patrick, if you see somebody coming at you, just get rid of the ball. I don't care if you get an intentional grounding. Don't get hit. That's all I'm telling them.
He was banged up during the game, too. He's going to have 2 weeks to get that taken care of.
They said he didn't even get a shot yesterday.
I don't think it's going to be a problem in 2 weeks. It wasn't a problem the other day or yesterday. You could tell it was obviously hurting him, but he was taped up heavily. His adrenaline was pumping. It's going to be the freaking Super Bowl. It's not going to be a factor. He was still able to move out of the pocket. They helped him out by keeping him in the pocket as long as possible. And then once he moved, that's what those receivers do good at, is they're able to get open and find open spots, and he just dumps it off to them.
That Kansas City offensive line, they're not the best line in football, but they're the highest graded pass blocking line. So I think that they definitely have the ability to minimize, I don't even want to say neutralize, but they can reduce the Philadelphia pass rush.
Right.
It was just bad play calls that got them hurt. And that's hard to say with Shanahan calling plays. But you had a backup tight end blocking, the fastest guy that they have on their D-line. And we know a great pass rusher.
I mean,
let's just chip him and go out for a route and leave it 1-on-1. Let's do that.
But, I mean, how much of it, like the Kansas City grade, is it because Mahomes is able to be so fluid in the pocket? Or not even in the pocket, be able to get out of the pocket?
I mean, I'm sure there's some amount, but I feel like the way that PFF grades that stuff, it's pretty detailed. I mean, they're looking at one-on-ones, win rate and all that, but the efficiency of the offense definitely matters. If he's getting it out quicker, they're not blocking for as long. But that's part of it.
Have you heard, we're big on conspiracies in this show. Have you heard that we might have talked about this before on like a show a long time ago. Have you heard that like the players were paying Pro Football Focus to grade them higher than what they actually are? Have you seen that before?
I wouldn't doubt it, but no.
I mean, it's a private company. It's not affiliated with the NFL whatsoever.
If I'm in a contract year, hey, bump me up a couple grade points. I gotta negotiate this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Which offensive lineman in Kansas City is making that payment?
Trace.
The UK guy that's on the bench.
Oh, Darian Kennard.
Yeah, Darian Kennard. He's like, hey man, bump my numbers up. I need some PT.
Get me on the field, man. That's a dude that's going to get on the field eventually for someone. He's too good not to. Whew. All right, so we've talked about the Super Bowl. I'm going to assume I'm picking the Eagles. Coop's riding with the Chiefs, we believe, right? Dave, you the Eagles guy?
NFC hasn't lost the Super Bowl in a couple years, boys. I don't think it's happening this year.
All right, so 2 Eagles guys, 1 Chiefs guy on the podcast. Other than that, some NFL news going on is the Cowboys letting loose of their offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy says he's taking over play calling duties. So, yeah, that's a great idea, Jerry Jones. I'm glad you're letting this happen. I still don't see Mike McCarthy even being on the coaching staff next year, but he might. What are your thoughts on that?
At this point, he's sticking around. He's already. I think the Cowboys are trying to look like they're in charge here when they really weren't. I think Kellen Moore said, "Hey, LA wants me. I'd like to go there." So they put their press release out first. But he's going to be the OC for the Chargers next year, and I'm excited.
Yeah. The big one that we talked about lunch today is Eric Bieniemy. It kind of sounds like he's not doing any head coaching interviews this offseason, which is shocking. But
He does them every year, but they never hire him.
Exactly. But now it sounds like he's getting out of Kansas City no matter what. He's going to go be an OC somewhere. I know Washington has an interview with him. Sounds like Dallas is probably going to go after him now too. I don't know if it's a relationship thing or if it's a trying to get out of the shadow of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to prove that he is part of the reason why the Chiefs are having success. But
that's the question I was going to ask is why would he want to get away from that? But that does make sense. If he's trying to be a head coach, and maybe the reason he's not being hired is, sometimes when you pair coaches up with coaches, the chemistry is there. The play calling is there. You have good players to play behind, and maybe he wants to go prove himself elsewhere, and so that way he can kind of jumpstart his career into head coaching that way. So that does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, look at Bill O'Brien's a good example of that. I mean, he was with the Patriots, left, got the Texans job, didn't work out, and now a couple years at Bama, and now he's back. I could see that maybe with Bieniemy in 4 or 5 years down the road, just winding back up in Kansas City. Same thing happened with Matt Nagy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even coordinators that don't come back return to those roles. I mean, we saw it in less than 1 year with Nathaniel Hackett. Like, head coach is not for me. Let's go see if we can try to lure Aaron to somewhere else.
Yeah. But to his defense,
go ahead, Dave.
He was supposed to have Aaron. That's the reason why they hired him. Only reason.
I disagree.
That was the lure.
You can't count on those types of things, man. So you're not taking a job like that expecting.
The Walmart people were banking on it, and
according to some people, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback and still couldn't get it done.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's ride.
Weaver says Packers and Rodgers are ready to move on, quote unquote. What team would you like to see Aaron Rodgers play for next year? If you're watching, leave it in the comments. Really quick, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our boy Bob Dole.
Hey.
All love, brother. Been a long time since we had you on the show. Appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, what team would you like to see Aaron Rodgers play for next year? And Bob has he has Seattle. I like it. Kind of dirty on my dude Geno Smith up there, but big time rich bum should go to the USFL.
He's going to AFC. They're not going to trade him in conference. Definitely not in division.
That could happen.
But he's not going in conference.
You think The Rock picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I got you a spot in the XFL, big dog." Weaver says the Jets. The Jets are the team that I hear the most of.
Yep.
And I kind of agree with you.
See, I have a hard time finding a team with a better situation than the Jets.
The Jets had the best young talent in the league.
I think the only other two possibilities are Indy or Vegas. And Vegas seems like the landing spot for Brady right now.
The problem I have with the Jets, because I agree.
What an electric offseason this is going to be. I can't wait. We're going to have so much to talk about.
If I'm the Jets, do you really want the toxicity or whatever the word is?
Hell yeah.
Aaron Rodgers?
If you've got an MVP caliber quarterback and you can go and win right away, hell yeah, you'll take that. But it can't be any more toxic than what you already have.
That's
as big of a distraction as Aaron Rodgers is going to be. Even bigger. I think it's bigger.
I think if you're sitting there, you ask yourself, what is Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers?
He's an all-pro.
Can he not be Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson-esque with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball? And is that not enough to get you to the Super Bowl with a defense that is arguably better than most of what the Packers have had in Rodgers' tenure? I mean, that was the best secondary in football this year, the New York Jets.
I don't know. No, they're electric. That's what I'm saying is you have this young core. Why would you want to go after the old guy who's toxic as hell and you don't even know if he's going to play for 1 or 2 more years?
Here's why.
He's only won 1 Super Bowl.
Doesn't matter.
He's the king of choking.
When it comes to I was going to say something about another player, but I'm going to not say that.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a reputation, so I can't say it. I'll tell you guys what I was going to say afterwards. But anyway.
I know. I picked it up.
Anyway, the thing about Rodgers is all of the hate is
Oh my god.
all of the hate is warranted. It really is. The thing about it though is he's still a good football player, and he's one of the best available quarterbacks who has 2-3 really good years left in him.
But he's too expensive.
That's probably true. But if you have a team willing to pay for him to sell out like the Rams did for 2 years to put good pieces together to try to win the Super Bowl, I think you got to try it, especially for the Jets. I mean, Mark Sanchez took you to the playoffs. I mean, that was great. But
I mean, but
they need something?
Jared Goff, could Derek Carr, could could those? You don't think those guys could take that team and win as many playoff games as Aaron Rodgers?
No,
they could get into the playoffs and they might win a game or two, but they're not Super Bowl threats with those guys, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
But Jimmy
Cooper
G,
not hardly ever.
But Jimmy G made it to the Super Bowl. He's not a threat.
Yeah, you put Rodgers on the Niners, I know where I'm betting next year.
Yeah, that's not even close. Dave, I think I could line up behind center for the Niners. Hey, CMC, I'm gonna throw it over here. I'm gonna throw it over here to Debo and let him run.
We kind of laid this out last week, previewing these top 4 teams. They all had young quarterbacks, multiple weapons, and really built around the rookie contract, right? They had multiple stars on that deal. The Jets have multiple stars on the rookie contract. They can't wait to draft a quarterback and figure it out. They were good this year. They already had, their playoff contention or whatever. Like, they were a good team. They're not going to get the premium draft pick to go get that number 1 quarterback. And if they wait 2 or 3 years to draft a guy and develop him, these rookie contracts are over. They're having to shell out money for Sauce. They're having to make a decision on Breece Hall. They're going to have to give Garrett Wilson an insane contract. And they've also, the veterans that they have are productive in their roles. I mean, Elijah Moore is still really young, but Corey Davis has had a resurgence with them. They've got Tyler Conklin, who's young. He's been performing.
James Robinson.
Like, they've got the pieces to almost reverse engineer it from what we talked about, everybody having success. They've got the young talent on the cheap contracts. Now they can pay out for the quarterback and give it a year or two to make it work.
Yeah. Like, this offseason is pretty ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the center of it all. What I do like about the Aaron Rodgers issue is he's on McAfee every Tuesday. So tomorrow we'll be able to tune in and watch him. They ask him these questions and he gives them answers.
Yeah.
See, this is what I hate though. Last year was the offseason of Rodgers. He's just Brett Favre again. He just learned from the best. He knows how to stay in the headlines.
Why are we not? Brady does the same thing.
Yeah, he got a divorce this year.
I would have effing done it.
He got a divorce this year to stay in the headlines.
He's won rings.
But he knew his team wasn't any good, so he had to get that attention. He's a narcissist.
Yeah, because he's won however many rings. I'm just saying, I don't think if I am the GM of the Jets, who looks phenomenal, that guy deserves a raise right now. I'm just saying the only way you go and screw this up is you go get the narcissistic Aaron Rodgers and you pay him a boatload of money and then you lose in the wild card weekend next year. And then we have year three off season of Rodgers. Is he going to play or is he going to get traded? What's he going to do? When you could have got Derek Carr for cheap, and you probably still could have lost in the first wild card round.
I don't think Derek Carr's that cheap.
It's cheaper than Rodgers.
Derek Carr will be looking for a multi-year deal.
This is where you're going to find just the GM. It's going to come down to GM opinion. If I'm a GM, I'm not buying a 30-year-old Derek Carr to be mediocre. That's just me, because that's what he is. That's what he has been. That's who he is. He's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback.
Hall of Famer.
Derek Carr?
Yeah. That's what Devontae Adams said.
He's maybe a 15 to 20 quarterback in the NFL. I'd probably put Goff behind him, but in that same range. And I'm not gonna go after a guy like that. I'd either rather be in rebuild mode and take my chances on young guys and really invest in the coordinators and quarterback coaches that I have, or I'm going to go for a vet that's proven they can win. Maybe they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, but they haven't been on my team. And that could be the difference. But that's just my mindset. And I think that's what's going to come down to for these teams. Some teams are okay with playing for 500. Like I could see Irsay just wanting to, let's get 9 wins and sell some tickets.
That's what it comes down to, though, is selling tickets, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's what the owners really care about. It's a business to them, man. They want to win. They want to hoist the trophy, but not every team is built to win a Super Bowl every year. We've seen that. Yep. And, people were looking for playoff pushes. I'm looking through the comments here. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. So a couple of really good points. Memorabilia talked about, a lot of Jets getting a lot of praise for going 2-8. We're talking about quarterback situations here. And then he also mentions Niners went 8-0 with a 7th-round rookie. My rebuttal to that is placement in the draft doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. If you're good, you're good. You just got looked over. Jets
also played 4 different quarterbacks this year. I think they had 4 different starters.
Yeah. Mike White, Wilson, Flacco.
Chris Streveler.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
And I would say that also Breece Hall went down early.
Yeah.
And he looked like the real deal before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a
5.8 yards a carry. That's insane.
Question from Weaver. This is an interesting question. He says, do the Bears really like Bryce Young better, or do they think they can get a haul for Fields and just replace him with Young? If they're even thinking about drafting a quarterback, they are stupid. And they deserve every loss that they have.
No, I feel like they're
probably
doing
playing
what they need to do to get.
They're playing around with the minds of the other teams.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to get in the trade talks going, and then they're going to rebuttal with some other people. Cole Kmet, get them out.
You need picks to build your defense and an elite wide receiver. And this was my hot take from a couple weeks ago, or whatever you call it, bold take, or I don't remember the wording we used. But I think the Bears win that division this year.
That makes a lot of sense. It all depends on what they do in this draft. So they got to go heavy defense. I think wide receiver is a must. I don't know how many picks they have. I don't know if they have many multiple first rounds or whatever, but I mean, they got the best one. It's kind of hard to miss on the first one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not sold on the Bears quite yet. It was Eberflus's first year, if that's how you say his name. How many games
SpongeBob character
did they throw away? Like, I feel like I watched like 8 games where the Bears had the ball last possession and Justin Fields threw a pick. Like, it was the perfect season for the Bears. I mean, Justin Fields looked like a dude, but they could not win a game. And, you could say, well, they were tanking or whatever, but like at the end of the day, can they really win the division when they just had a year of like, I think somebody just said the Lions, man. Yeah, like the Lions were just like that. How many one score games did they lose this year?
I love the Lions.
If you're counting a score as 7 points, They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 one possession losses this year. To me,
the Lions or the
that's
Bears?
the opposite narrative. The Bears, because they had 6 one possession losses this year. You're looking at a Bears team that everybody is like, oh, they got the number 1 pick. They're terrible. They're 6
not
possessions
terrible.
away from being a 9-win team.
They are way better than the Texans and the Colts.
Yeah.
And the Raiders.
6 snaps away from being 9 wins.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though.
They shore up the defense, man. A lot can happen. You know, you saw it with the Bengals. Crap, I said it. Crap. I said I wasn't going to say that name.
I should have
You saw it with Cincinnati, where 1 draft or 2 good drafts in a row can change a team.
He's not Burrow, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not getting a Joe Burrow, but like a Jamar Chase is in there somewhere probably. You got some guys that are in there every year that are going to be dudes, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball. It doesn't have to be receiver. You know, Will Anderson might be the guy for them to put them over the edge. That's their Khalil Mack replacement from years ago. Their guy that's the face of the defense.
Wait, can we just time out for a second?
Sure.
Did y'all see Stetson Bennett get absolutely demolished by the Dallas PD when he was hammered and trying to take off running?
I didn't see the video, but
man, you guys need to go look it up. It is absolutely hysterical. This drunk white boy just trying to run from the cops, and it was like a Fred Warner just freaking laid him out.
I know people make mistakes, but like that dude knows all eyes are on him.
Hey man, he's living his life.
It doesn't matter if he wants to.
He's driving. He was drunk. Whatever. He paid his price, and now his draft stock is gonna fall.
It was terrible as it is already.
Yeah,
he's already 25. Just
that's where I'm at.
Messing around.
Live your life, buddy. It doesn't bother me. I think
maybe he has a feeling that his NFL career is not going to be anything special, which
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
He's hoping to be Chase Daniels. That is his dream.
Shit, yeah.
Oh man,
what a living that dude's made. Did you watching it, Coop?
Yeah, face off the half wall.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I could have it here so I can pull it up on the screen and show.
Nobody's ever said he's a mobile quarterback.
No,
he's definitely not.
Definitely not dual threat.
We talk about the Lions. Remember, really said offense is a poor man Shanahan style. Lions could have easily had the Seattle or Giants playoff slot this year. That's true. I think next year, I think the Lions take on one of those slots. The Lions are close.
A lot of injuries.
The Lions were close. A lot of people don't believe in Jared Goff, but the dude can sling the rock. He's a good leader. He's a leader that they don't need. Let me take this back. I'm going to try to put this in words that make a lot of sense. The Lions seem like the gritty team who don't necessarily think they should thrive off of a superstar type quarterback. Does that make sense? They want to get it. They want to get. They want to get it done the hard way. If that makes any sense, like they think that it's the blue collar mentality where they're going to get it done with the guys they've got. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to go out and look for superstars. They're going to homegrown guys. They don't get a lot of free agent offseason transactions. Like that's not a destination for people that they want to go, but it might turn into that. And we'll see how Dan Campbell handles those types of situations. But they're set up to be really good. Their defense has some things that need to clear up. Their D-line and outside linebackers, their pass rushers, Aiden Hutchinson is ridiculous. The dude's going to be up there with the Bosas being talked about pretty soon, I have a feeling. Probably another wide receiver away. Great running backs. Probably need another tight end as well. They got rid of the only one good one they had. Hawkinson was a big loss for them. But
man, that was a weird move.
That was. But I could see them making the playoffs next year.
Let's play a little name game here.
Go ahead.
Quarterback wise.
I like it.
You want Goff or Carr?
Goff.
Wow, I would take Carr. Goff or Russ?
For on which team?
Body of work all together.
If you're the Lions.
Probably Russ.
I'm not saying Russ is available. I'm just looking at
Golf.
kind of ranking him.
I'm gonna take Russ.
Golf.
I would also take Russ, and that's saying a lot.
That's a hard one for me, honestly. I really thought I had to think about that. The reason being, though, is like I'm looking at the whole body of work. Like he's been there. You want somebody that's been there.
Golf or Dak?
Golf has been there.
I know that, but like MVP level.
Russ hasn't been there. Russ has never got an MVP vote.
Okay, I'm wrong. Sorry.
Golf or Dak?
I hate Dak. Taking golf.
What?
Dak.
Oh my god!
I gotta settle in, dude. I got my feet in the ground. They're not moving. I hate Dak Prescott. He's not good.
Golf or Kirk?
Give me the age. Golf.
Golf.
Y'all are blowing my mind. Golf or you're gonna say golf? There's no point in asking that one.
So ask it.
Golf
Daniel
or
Jones.
Kyler?
I'm taking Kyler.
Kyler.
Coming off an ACL, you're still taking Kyler?
He's an athlete, dude. ACLs don't keep you down for long.
They don't keep you down for long, but we haven't seen quarterbacks come back as mobile afterwards. Like we've seen some quarterbacks. Dak was a rushing quarterback before he got hurt. He's not.
He's not Kyler Murray, though. Kyler Murray's
Yeah.
different. He's different. He's not Michael Vick different. He's schoolyard bullshit different. That's what he is.
Yeah. Then the last one I had was Dak or Daniel Jones.
I'd probably take Dak.
Not Dak. I'm sorry. Golf or Daniel Jones.
That's a tough one. Golf is
Daniel
more
Jones
consistent.
is more of the Lions type of quarterback.
I could see Daniel Jones fitting right in with the Lions. I really could.
Give me Danny Dimes all day.
I think it's really close for those two.
I would take every quarterback I asked about over Golf.
Where did they end in fantasy rankings? That's the real question. Because that's all that matters.
Well, health,
Yeah.
I don't
health is
care
a
about
factor for
playoff
some of those
wins.
guys.
What do you do in week 16?
We don't care. We don't care about real life stats. We want fantasy points.
You guys
Did he
really
win
think
me my
Golf's that
league?
good, huh?
I think he's good enough.
Okay, they went Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Russ, Carr, Kyler, Dak. But Dak,
But
Kyler,
Dak, listen to
Carr-
him.
no, they all missed time this
Yeah.
year. They didn't play a full schedule. I didn't ask about anybody above Goff,
Yeah, those were all
above
irrelevant.
Cousins. I didn't ask about anybody above Cousins. I don't think you take any of those.
That's a good
So
game.
you
I
guys
like
are
that
talking
game.
Golf like maybe top 10.
He was
With the
1-1.
quarterbacks you put behind him,
Yeah.
yeah,
Here's the
Sam
thing-
Bowie was 1-2. I'd still take
Yeah,
Jordan.
He wasn't 1-1. He was 1-2.
Here's the thing about this discussion, though, is the quarterbacks that you named any given year, any one of them could be top 10. You see what I'm saying? Like they could have a breakout year with a good offensive coordinator. They're talented enough. They're all surefire starters in the league. Like there's nobody's taking their spot anytime soon. But like they could have that year anytime. Are they going to do it consistently? Probably not.
Well, and a big part of it is, the teams. I mean, you go look at Russ.
You give Dak another good receiver and not Ezekiel
No.
Elliott running the ball.
He had one.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he
had
had
a bad
one.
game. He had a bad game.
Yeah.
He is a good quarterback. He had a bad playoff game, which that is just the way of the Dallas Cowboys. So, but yeah, Dak's a starter on your fantasy team. If I'm in the championship, I want Dak as a starter.
I'm
Give me that
talking
week
Golf.
16.
You guys are so high on Golf. I want to know where he sits. You give me your number right now.
But
Where
here's the-
is
here-
Jared Goff.
I can't give you a number. I can give you a range. He's 10 to 15. He's sitting there with he's sitting there with Daniel Jones. He's sitting there with Kirk Cousins. You take Justin Jefferson away from Kirk Cousins, he's bottom feeder. Right?
All right. So these are the guys you got over him, obviously. Mahomes, Herbert, Brady, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, Jackson.
I got him
Tua.
at 9.
Lawrence.
I have Lawrence over him.
Yeah, and Tua.
Okay.
I think
Rodgers.
No. Yeah, I have Rodgers
Oh, yeah.
over him.
So that's
But
9.
I have him at 9.
You don't have anybody in the NFL outside of those 9 players above Jared Goff.
At the quarterback
Stafford.
position?
You have Goff below. You have Goff above Stafford.
I do.
I would put Goff above Stafford.
You have Goff above Watson. You have Goff above Dak. Goff above Kirk. Goff above Geno, Tua, Russ, Carr, Daniel Jones.
Yeah. The only one I would say, actually, no, make him 10. I'll put Kyler at 9. Goff's my 10.
I think he's
Fields.
10 to 15 for me. But like the 10 to 15 range, those can move week to week. Like
Justin Fields.
you'll have your 15 and then everything
He's
else
done
after
more
that.
than Justin Fields. He's won more games than Justin Fields this year.
He took the Rams to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
He did. So that's what I'm saying is like between him and Stafford, the Rams, they made their peace with that trade. They got their Super Bowl championship. But I don't think they won that trade. I think they lost that trade. I mean, well, they won the Super Bowl. It's hard to say they lost the trade. But like
in the long run,
they're
they're
screwed.
losers.
So
It hurt them.
I don't know if Tua is going to play again. He's still
That'd
not
be
out of
interesting.
concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Brady is looking for private schools for his son in Miami. Do you guys see those videos?
Man.
All right,
He's not
talking
going
about
to
Lamar
Miami.
Jackson. Where's he going to go? Hope out of the AFC North.
Miami.
Washington, baby. Washington.
We talk about, like I said, this offseason is going to be great. I think he's still in Baltimore. I really do.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of him.
I think
He's
they'd
still
be
on a
dumb.
contract, right?
They don't have it yet. I don't know. He's a unrestricted.
No, they
free
have
agent?
to tag him. And
He
he
can
can
just tag him
him.
next year.
And the NFL, this is really important because he's representing himself.
Mhm.
So if you get tagged in the NFL, you're basically bound by the NFLPA, whatever you have, collective bargaining agreement, to sign that franchise tender. You do not have to play on it. You can sign it, request a trade, and you don't have to play a snap. You don't have to show up at practice. You don't have to do anything. You're required to sign the tender. So the team basically has you as an asset and nothing else. So the fact that we still don't have a negotiated extension makes me think he's a tag and trade. And man, if he lands in Miami, I just want to see.
That's a lot of speed, dude.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of speed on one field. Where does that put them in the Super Bowl contention? Top 5?
Imagine,
No, I don't think that puts them any higher than they were this year with a healthy Tua. I think they're in the
I think
playoffs.
it gets them to. Yeah, I mean it's a couple game swing. I think
Can it get them like a 2-3 seed in the conference?
not in that
See,
division.
that division is just brutal.
Let's just play out the perfect scenario here. Rodgers to the Jets, Lamar to Miami, and we get Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar Jackson in the same division in football.
And Bill Belichick's gonna win that shit.
That would be
With Mac
something, man.
Jones.
Oh, Bailey Zappi all the way.
Bailey Zappi and
I
Bill
like Bailey
B.
Zappi. I think Bailey Zappi should be the starter on that team.
Yeah.
Go Western.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Dave. I don't think it's a massive swing because Tua had a really good year when he was
Yeah,
healthy.
he's good.
But I do
mean,
think that the added mobility of Jackson and the versatility it gives to your offense probably swings you a game and a half to 2 games.
They ended up 9-7, I believe. So that puts them at 11-5. So
Pretty decent.
I mean, yeah, it's good, but I mean, what's Josh Allen gonna do? What are the Jets gonna be?
What are you gonna do, brother?
So
And they're
All right,
another
guys.
team at 5 one-score games. So you think Lamar can make a touchdown difference in a game or two, and they're completely different.
With his
record.
legs, he definitely could.
Yep.
So, all right, man. we're gonna wrap up the show with that. Super good conversation we had going on today about the NFL and all. We didn't talk about anything else other than the NFL. If you're watching it, if you made it all this way, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'd help us out a ton. But other than that, fellas, good night to you all. Let's have a great week. I know our school here is canceled already for tomorrow. Good time. Supposed to have like 2 inches of ice on the road tomorrow. So
stay safe.
We'll see what happens. I still got to go to work, so it's all good. Buy a Creekwater hat. This guy. It's in the description. If you haven't already, check out the Trifecta Sports Podcast Etsy store. Also, link in the description. Buy yourself some merch. Represent our brand. And subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Peace, love, football.